realized that over 40% of the issues that we have is due to passenger negligence.
What do you mean?
Not understanding or reading the terms of use. Tell me why you're sending a camera worth 3 million with a dispatcher when the terms of use says the highest package you send should be.
Oladimeji Timothy is the country manager of InDrive Nigeria, a leader at the intersection of technology, mobility, and impact. He's reshaping how urban mobility works in one of Africa's most complex and competitive markets. As the country manager of InDrive, he has played a pivotal role in driving the platform's growth, relevance, and adoption across Nigeria.
Drivers are not just drivers. I picked about 6 passengers a particular day in Abuja. So one was going for a baby dedication. Then I picked another person who said, oh, she's going to celebrate her dad who just beat cancer. I, as a driver, and every driver, are integral to the dreams or the purpose that people are pursuing.
All right, so this is the Executive Dialogue. It's a podcast where we interview Africa's greatest minds, industry leaders, and people who have walked the talk. We learn from their successes, from their failures, and from, their experiences. The goal of this podcast is to make sure that we hit 10,000 followers this month. And I'm enjoying you to like, subscribe, and share with as many people that you think would benefit from these conversations that we'll be having. Today, I have a very special person with me by the name Oladimeji Timothy. He is the country manager, country representative for InDrive. Great to have you on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure being here as well.
How does it feel holding that position as, the country manager of InDrive?
That's a question I think I've answered. Obviously, I didn't start out being a country manager. Well, after a couple of years, it dawned on me that it's not just a position, it's a responsibility. So that's how I see it. It's also a privilege. And I have a story that points at the responsibility and privilege it is. So on one of my business trips, in Port Harcourt specifically, I was speaking to a driver under the guise of not being an InDrive employee. And after he told me the story of how he saw a difference in his work with InDrive compared to other platform, even though he was chasing bonus on the other platform. But when he worked with InDrive with no bonus in sight, and his family, his wife was actually the person who saw that, did it change where you were working? I've been asking for this, you've been able to provide and stuff. The kid has been able to go to school with the right uniform and all that. I realized that my waking up to face my laptop, go to the field, work with my colleagues is a privilege and an opportunity to impact my immediate environment. Being able to ensure that the driver is able to earn properly means that he's able to fend for his family.
Yeah.
And that's like a privilege that I don't take for granted. So in summary, it's a privilege, the responsibility, which I pursue with a lot of passion because it's an opportunity for me to impact my immediate environment. I might not be able to support everybody that comes to me directly every time for something or whatever. But the fact that with the collaboration of my colleagues, the team, the company, and the product, we're able to make significant impacts in my own community. That's a very big deal. That makes me feel some sense of fulfillment.
Okay, so for somebody who does not know Oladimeji Timothy, and you want to introduce yourself, or you want them to know your background, where you were born, your journey towards where you are today, how would you, tell the story of Oladimeji Timothy from when you were born to where you are today?
That's a very, very, it will be in multiple chapters. But just summarize for us. Okay, summary, all right then. A summary of my life. Born and bred up in Lagos. So much that every time I travel, I'm on my way back to Lagos, there's this excitement.
What part of Lagos?
Every time, no matter, I love the mainland. I stay on the mainland. I grew up in the mainland, and that's home.
Where did you go?
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Oh, I was born and brought up in Agege. Okay, I was born and brought up in Agege. And it definitely did a very good thing for me, right? I won't be able to put it in words because I don't know how to describe it at the moment. But anybody who knows Agege knows. I mean, the story about Agege, it's very street. But then again, it's created the right orientation for me to face the world. The right orientation. I mean, I've been held up at knife points,
My
right? And it was just like a typical experience. But that's not the whole story. That's not the usual story. It also helped me see. I think I was also lucky to be shielded thanks to my parents providing the right environment for me, even in such environment. The very, very good environment. Um, so
So
that
for those watching who don't know where Agege, it's like the Detroit of America or the Beckham of UK.
uh, technically yes. Okay, let's see. Actually, I'm trying to see in the scale of things if we were to compare with any other place, what Agege would be like. It would be like that actually, because it's technically suburban like Alimosho, Agege. So yes, it is. Say yeah. So that's one part of the story. I was born and brought up in Agege. School, secondary, primary school, then went on to study statistics in the University of Ibadan. And I know, in retrospect, I realized that that has an impact on how I see life. I want to rationalize things with number. If the numbers aren't adding up, it ain't gonna get me to move. And that is why I enjoy the fact that what we do at InDrive is very data driven. So it now makes sense. Oh, studying statistics, now it's adding up. I'm talking about the average was on a scale of 1 to 10, on no matter how small it is, even the qualitative experience, I want to be able to measure it, you know. So afterwards, and I think it's also showed in my second career path because after uni, failing, I mean, I graduated with a 2-2, but I felt nobody was going to hire me, so I delved into entrepreneurship. I am the typical entrepreneur. I took a course with CBN and Sterling Bank on the basis of entrepreneurship. Went on to start out a printing and branding outfit, and it paid the bills. But then again, I learned pretty fast that even entrepreneurship needed capital. Then I went on to join a consulting firm, and I still kept the business on, but then it was still paying the bills. But the consulting firm really did change the way I approach business. I got the basics of writing proposals, building business plans, doing market research, doing product development, everything you typically experience in a management consulting firm. I did enjoy. And afterwards, I went back to printing full time and I was able to actually develop products. So I am someone who learned because he wanted to use. So he asked me to do something. I say yes, and I learn and I do it. So I typically didn't say no to opportunities that that aligned with what I was looking out for. So we've gone on from me being an entrepreneur, being in management consulting, being in printing. Then COVID came and I identified I mean, management consulting gave me a lot of frameworks. I live my life by frameworks. SWOT, PES2, AAA, my life, my everyday was based on SOA matrix. My life was just about frameworks. So when COVID came, I was like, what's the opportunity? What's the threat? And identified that, oh, there was going to be a need for product package. People were going to be selling stuff. And I developed solutions for that. And then when COVID beat Ada, I was locked in. And then I sharpened my skills on digital marketing. And at the end of COVID, I applied for a Meta sponsored, it was Facebook then. I don't think they had changed to Meta then.
No, they are just Facebook.
Yeah, so I applied for a Facebook training, a Facebook sponsored training, and I got in and rigorous training, locked in, stopped working. Thank God I had savings. Yeah, I mean, I still worked. I mean, that was when I started working from home remotely fully as an entrepreneur, as also someone who works for as an employee as well. And then, yeah, after the training with Meta, I went on to join Teleperformance on the Meta project. That's where we met. Yes.
Yeah.
And then I remember when we came to the office on the Friday, and then we went down. I with Diana went downstairs to have lunch. You saw us together, and you're like, yeah, I can still remember the picture of that day with your turtleneck and your jacket. And then after that, InDrive.
Wow. So from Teleperformance Facebook project to InDrive.
Yes.
Interesting. Interesting. From one global brand to another global
You
brand.
know the vibe, But that was my first post after I left Teleperformance. Yes, that's how it's been. So yeah, I think that's a good summary of my journey.
You mentioned that you worked with a consulting firm. What made you leave and then go full time into entrepreneurship?
Who made me leave? What made me leave? I think I remember, but putting it in the right words is actually very important because it had a lot of context to it. But in the simplest way, without the context, was a necessary lesson to understand trade-offs and alignment.
Okay.
Was the consulting firm good? Oh, great stuff. However,
Through most of the things you know now.
yes, the foundation of.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, I have always been the identify opportunity, build on it and stuff, but it handed me the ropes of knowing what to build and how to build. Yeah, the summary would be trade-offs and making decision, because at the end of the day, in retrospect, I'm realizing that anytime you're making a decision, there is an opportunity cost, and you have to ensure that the road taken is more valuable than the opportunity cost. And in that case, the consulting firm appeared to be the opportunity cost. And I guess it's okay that the road taken led us here.
Interesting. Okay, so there's this particular question I want to ask. As you rule in InDrive, where would you say is the toughest decision you've made? And how did you? What's the toughest operational challenge you faced? When it comes to your day-to-day activities and all of that, and how did you solve it?
I'd say it's on the topic of service quality / safety.
That's a good question because I was also going to touch on, safety and all of that.
Yeah.
Continue.
And it all lies in the numbers. So that's the toughest. Why? Because it came with the growth.
Okay.
So we grew astronomically between 2023 and 2025. And whenever you grow, so let's say you're doing 1,000 sales today, and tomorrow with the same, without your expectation was to grow, but you grew to 10,000.
Wow.
So, and you start having I mean, maybe when you were doing 1,000, you were having 5 complaints, 7 complaints, and all that stuff. If it goes to 10,000,
It also goes to
grows. However, Nigeria is unique.
okay.
Nigeria is a country where we seek social justice as against actual justice. So you typically find someone come to social media for
Rant and
yes, without actually filing a proper report, laying a proper complaint, and even maybe following the due process. So that's one part of the story. But that's like an example of one of the challenges: safety and service quality. So when we started, we did a deep dive and we identified there was a particular business unit in our business that was responsible for this. And because on our side, on the riding side, we've been able to implement a lot of safety precaution. We've had safety summit, the first safety summit, the second safety summit. As a matter of fact, we are the first player to start establishing safety summits.
Wow.
We did it so much our competitors started doing safety summits because we all understood that there's an educational gap, knowledge gap of leaders, knowing that as simple as sharing a trip exists on InDrive. It's existed since 2021, a long time ago, but people didn't know
about it.
As simple as an SOS button existed, as simple as sharing feedback, giving feedback and rating a driver existed, but people didn't know. So we've done a lot of house cleaning. Even we've done platinum, we've penalized, we've motivated, we've penalized bad behavior so much that bad behavior reduced. We've started motivating. We spent about 1.24 billion naira to reward good behavior.
Wow.
Driver welfare. So if you're a driver who has a 4.8 rating and you do certain number of trips, or you're just very good service quality, the likelihood that you've gotten a great reward from InDrive is very high. So we've gone through the process of that's to address. How did you address it? First, penalizing. So as simple as late coming, canceling a number of times, there are different triggers. It can be blocked from 1 hour to as much as a life ban, so much that you can't get back on
the app.
I know certain drivers who've done thousands of trips. We know that they work probably solely on InDrive, but because we started noticing a pattern, even though they are high active, we have to let them go. So you make that sacrifice. So that's one, penalizing and motivating. Penalize bad behavior, motivate good behavior. And that has yielded very, very great results for us. And that's what's the indication? If you pick up your phone on InDrive right now and you pick up your phone for other platforms, you will, out of 10 times, you will get an InDrive 8 times first before every other comes. And that's a sign of strength and good service quality, right? The other one is on the courier side. So if you go on Instagram, you hear a lot of, or Twitter, you hear a lot of, the InDrive courier ran away with my package and all that stuff, which is one operational challenge that we did and that we had. What did we do? We implemented a stronger verification system. And then we also implemented a tougher flow because we realized that over 40% of the issues that we have on courier is due to passenger negligence.
How do you mean?
Not understanding or reading the terms of use. Tell me why you're sending a camera worth 3 million with a dispatcher when the terms of use says the highest package you send should be 50,000 naira. So now, what did we do? Even though that is not our responsibility, we realize that we have a responsibility of creating the right environment to reduce the friction. So, as a product.
But in this part of the world, especially in Nigeria, people hardly read terms and conditions.
Yeah, that's why we went on to the next step. We took it upon ourselves.
Yeah.
As a tech company, we understand that the flow of how you use the product impacts the result that we get. And we're ready to make a sacrifice.
Okay.
We implemented an extra step, which, number one, before you put in you need to put in a compulsory place, which indicates the value of what you're sending. And in that place, it is written to not send package. The package should not be more than 50,000 naira. That's the first step.
Okay.
The second step, as soon as you put that in, maybe you just put it in and you just keep it or something, and you click send. Before it allows you to send, it brings out the summarized terms of use, which indicates what you shouldn't send, what are the key points that we've seen that people have violated in most recent times. What was the result of that step? We saw a decline in the conversion rate from that point. So what we see is if 100 people started the form, when we get to that point, before we'll see a lot of people go send and all. But now we see that when it gets to that point, there's a decline in number of people. So what it means that we made a loss just to ensure that service quality is maintained.
Great. So it's like people getting to that point and they're realizing that, the package I'm sending is more than 50K, so there's no point.
Absolutely. So it saves both parties.
Something you said got me. Somebody sending 3 million naira
Yes.
of package.
Yes, we've seen people send things that are sentimental, like wedding dress. We've seen people send things, all sorts of things. We've seen people send live animals.
Wow.
Yep. And these are all parts of the terms of use of what you shouldn't send.
Trust. So you touched a little bit about, safety. You talked about some of the things that you guys did. What other things in addition have you guys implemented when it comes to safety, right, on the app? And also, how does InDrive, works to build a trusted ecosystem, when it comes to safety?
Thank you. One of the pillars of riding is safety, and that has been embedded in our system from the get-go. We are the only platform that thinks about the user before, during, and after the trip. Let's start with before, in terms of safety. Before the trip, we ensure that the user is involved in the selection process of who drives them. This not only creates safety, but a sense of safety. How? When you place another on InDrive, you have the ability to choose,
See some options.
see options, and not just options, information about the option. How far they are from you, how many rides have they taken, and what is their rating. I'll pose a question to you. You placed an order, you found a driver, he has a 4.9 rating, and he has done 5,000 trips. And you see another driver, he has a 4.6 rating, and he has done 200 trips. Who would you pick?
Of course, the 5,000 with 4.9 rating.
Now, that is a logic of how safety, and why is that though?
Because the 5,000 has done more trips, he's experienced, and he has a higher rating. Now, for the 4.6 and the 200 trip guy, I would assume that he's just new into driving and he just started, and there are certain situations that he might not be able to navigate through when it comes to my safety. So
Great way to put it, and that's very perfect. So that process, that singular feature inclusion, is a sign of how we think about safety ahead. So that is a proactive safety feature that no other platform has thought about, has been able to build or implement, or has in the market. And that puts us way ahead in ensuring, because safety is not one-sided. Safety is a collective responsibility. Before, during, after you have to involve state agencies. During, it's between the passenger and the driver. Before, it's about the product, and we've done that. During the ride, what are the things? As soon as you accept and all, that's all part of doing the ride.
yeah,
Ensuring that the details match. We have a very top verification system to ensure that every driver is verified. So if you go on a platform, if you go on InDrive right now and you select a driver, you'd see an indication this driver has been verified. If you ever find a reason to see that the driver has not been verified, you have every right to flag it as a feedback. I didn't see that the driver has been verified. And what does this do? It prompts the driver to go for the necessary verification. Another step for during the trip is sharing the live location.
okay.
We've been able to support in cases to ensure that rides have live tracking. So you're going somewhere, click on the share button, boom, to a loved one. Your ride is tracked properly. In the case of an incident, you can track the last known location, and all that. So that is another.
Well, what's the percentage of people that use that feature?
I don't have that.
We don't
I
have that.
as
Okay, we do.
In terms of post trip, we've collaborated a lot. As I said, we are the first that launched the safety summit because we saw that there was a knowledge gap, and we had to create a forum that allowed every stakeholder, even passengers, to be at a place where we discuss safety of ride hailing. So we've not just collaborated with, the stakeholders on the passenger side, Federal Safety Corps, the Ministry of Transportation, the Nigerian Police, key stakeholders.
I see most of those events that InDrive, they're doing a great job. On that. I see the collaboration with road safety, with last mile, with all of this, and then the drivers themselves.
Yeah.
All right, and that's really commendable.
Yeah, so those are ways. And what I realized, I didn't used to be let's have forums and all. I'm a very operational guy. Let's do the work. But the conversations yielded certain results. For example, we launched what we call the Law Enforcement Report Portal. So what it does, it connects InDrive with the law enforcement to be able to exchange data in the case of a need to investigate an issue, right? Because, as I said, passengers sometimes don't know the right route to go. They'll come and say, oh, this driver did XYZ, I need this detail. But data protection law prohibits us from doing that. The only person who has the right to request is a law enforcement agency. We created the portal, a closed portal that ensures that it's only law enforcement agencies that can request for terms like this.
Okay.
And we've gone ahead further to build even a simpler solution. We're still working on because we've seen the adoption of that solution, which is the law enforcement report portal by the Nigerian Police Force. We've worked with them. We've had different meetings, and we're seeing how can we scale it even down to as simple as WhatsApp. Closed WhatsApp system between us and them to ensure seamless flow of information to support cases.
So if somebody has an issue now, all you need to do is just report it to a law enforcement. They can now pick up the case because they have a portal that
communicates
directly with InDrive. Okay.
Yes, that's what we've built. So yeah, these are the things that we've done to address safety before, during, and after trips.
That's pretty much interesting. Let's talk to how InDrive has become a major player in the e-hailing space. One of the core differentiators of InDrive and other, e-hailing apps would be price negotiation, right? In a price-sensitive market like Nigeria, what do you see as the, let's say, psychological and economic advantages of this pricing model, right? Fixed priced, and then be able to negotiate price before the ride, and also when you negotiate and you guys agree on a particular price is fixed. Whether there is hold up, whether there is, any other thing, it's a fixed agreed amount. What do you think this pricing, model does for both building trust with the passengers and also loyalty with the drivers?
I'd say it's a thing of providing or turning intangibles into things people can feel. You like transparency, don't you?
Yeah.
And it's not something you can hold, but you can feel it. And that's what we've done with that fixed model. When there is going to be traffic in Lagos, I know most times take periods, right? So definitely, and that is where the second thing, which is the negotiation, which is choice, comes in. Being able to create an enabling environment that shows the reality, but still makes you part of the decision-making process and not an algorithm. So we created an environment through the negotiation system that ensures that even where there is an out of ordinary experience like rain in Lagos, we know how it gets.
Yeah.
Where you are not at the mercy of the algorithm that raises the price to 2 times. And the driver as well is not has not been taken advantage of, right? There is the glaring reality that, this trip that would typically take 30 minutes taking 45 minutes. The driver has the opportunity to be able to negotiate a reasonable amount because we put a bracket on how drivers can negotiate. We also put a bracket on how passengers can negotiate downwards. There's also a bracket on how drivers can negotiate upwards. So the first,
those 3 options on the app, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So the first is transparency, meaning that what I select at the start to the end, so it creates a sense of trust that, I will not be cheated. This is what the app says, and what have we seen? Since we came into the market, the rates of offline trips on ride-hailing has declined significantly thanks to that initiative of transparent pricing.
Wow.
Yes, that's taking it off. So people don't do offline trips again because they are comfortable with the fact that, yes, it's what the app brings that I'm going to pay and we've agreed beforehand. So Why should I go offline if
And
there's no need?
there's no need to go
I
offline.
have no fear.
By safety also.
Yeah, I have no fear that the price is going to go up. So this is fine. Then the matter of choice for the passenger, knowing that, I am able to negotiate with present day reality or market reality. And driver is also able to negotiate with present day reality or market reality. It's also brought a thing of value for money and also value for time. Value for money for passenger, value for time for driver. So these things are the benefit of those systems and even more. But then again, yeah, we can summarize it in that way.
All right, so let's have a conversation about EV, right? Electric vehicles. Does InDrive have any? Do they have any plan in that direction? What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, obviously the numbers are there. There's a stat that says at least 25% of the sales of EV would be powered by ride-hailing.
Yeah.
So this year alone,
How many percent did you say again?
25%.
25%.
Yeah. So that means we sit at an important place, the EV value chain. So that's the definition of the plan itself. Presently, it's still dependent on the players, the fleet partners, and the likes. But yes, we have a couple of EVs on our platform, which we also can speak a lot about. But then again, the fact remains that the future has EV written on it. The pathway still being defined. There's a lot of questions still being asked, but it's very, very, very obvious that for a sustainable future, EVs have a very big role to play in mobility. On our side, we have open doors to support, to generate the needed revenue. For example, we have our fleet program, which ensures that you have an asset, be it an EV or an ICE vehicle, you're able to put it on our platform, and then you're able to generate the needed revenue to cover your cost. Because one key problem that acquiring EV has is the very high upfront cost. The entry price for EVs range from about $18,000 to about $20,000 or more, right? So, I mean, factoring that in means that how many ride-hailing drivers can afford that, how many fleet companies want to do that, and all that stuff. So, but on our side, our investments in marketing, ensuring that there is high demand on our side, ensures that anyone who puts their vehicle on our platform is able to generate net revenue to recoup their investments. So that's as simple as our play at the moment.
Awesome. There is one question that keeps coming to my mind, and I would be damned if I don't ask this question. Over the years, we've seen a lot of new entrants into the market, the e-hailing market, and they have pretty much died. What do you think? For me, right, I can say identifying the pain points of the customer or your audience and things like that. What do you think are the reasons why those guys come into the market and before you know it, you're not hearing from them again? And why do they not succeed in the e-hailing market? Because there are just few players right now, that are dominating, which InDrive is at the top of the food chain, right? But what do you think are the factors that make people come into the, or companies coming to the e-hailing markets and they don't survive?
There are two ways to answer that question. Could be coming in as what has helped us succeed,
Okay.
or what is killing new market entrants.
Yeah.
So I'll chime in from what has helped us succeed. Singular principle of, people focused, people centered, people driven, and the fact that you have a strong product
Mm.
is very key. So we say, are there no other strong products? Are there no strong products that have their own strength and the likes? Yeah, they exist. or we have a very strong product that is very people driven, and that has helped us succeed.
I
So
think that's the tagline of InDrive, people driven
yes,
also.
yeah, and we are actually people driven. It's not just a tagline; it is who we are. I mean, it grows on you as you work with the organization. The fact that I shared the story at the start about how what we do impact our immediate environment is it made me realize, oh, it's not just the everyday business. It's actually people at the center of it. Really shows that we are very people driven. However, what is killing mobility is a tough business.
Mm.
It is tough.
Mm.
Starting it is tough. Even without competition, starting it
That's
is
an
tough.
yeah.
Continuing it is tough. Surviving, growing. Every point, even when you become big, every point is tough. Tough from a talent angle, tough from a finance angle, tough from an operations angle, tough from a regulation angle, tough from every angle, because it really does drive things, drive businesses, drive goals, drive people, drive fun, drive everything. So it's a multifaceted thing. So it's very tough, and the environment you play in is a very tough one. Because funding is tough here as well. And we've talked about one of the key blockers for EVs is lack of access to funding. So same thing for the other businesses before, running out. So, and then we another thing is building solutions that solves people's problem. Mobility as simple as it looks like you're taking someone from point A to point B. It's a simple stuff, yeah. However, how they want to be taken, what they want to be taken in, why, when is it, where do they want it, and all that stuff. All those tactical questions, as they say, execution, it's strategy of a breakfast. No matter how great it is, no matter how much money you are able to develop, are you able to execute as efficiently as possible? Those are other problems that we've seen. So all that I've shared, including some operational efficiency and also having going to the field, as I've said, I mean, my experience moving from CBD to know what it feels like to be a commuter from the suburbs to CBD, to know what it feels like to be a driver from suburbs to CBD, even sharing global knowledge. I mean, as simple as my regional manager was around. We hired a car for him to be a driver for a day. Being able to share lessons and being able to provide solution real quick because we share global knowledge. Oh, this has worked elsewhere. We should try it and all that stuff. Really does help us grow. In the market very well.
That's all. Awesome, great. My next question would be this: have you ever felt successful publicly, but having that kind of imposter syndrome kind of stuff? And how did you manage that season? Is it just sometimes where everybody's shouting the name, the superstar, and maybe you were saying, am I really the one doing this? Did you doubt yourself at some time, at some point?
I mean, at different points in our life, yes, we have. At different points in different forms. I'll dial it back to my life at Facebook. I felt it was just regular to manage an account. I was spending $5,000 monthly or an account of maintenance. I felt like, oh, everybody can do this, and stuff. But I did realize that it was only meant for a few persons that can do it.
Absolutely. You remember back to those days where it's doing so many things at the same time.
Right.
Wow.
Managing up to $400,000 in ad spend I want is not for babies, right? Um, I really do not like to dwell on poor experiences. I like to dwell on the lessons learned. I have a principle. The lessons learned on the journey are as important as the destination. So I'm very fixated on the lessons learned in between, rather than the destination. Yeah, destination is important. So back to, have I ever felt some sort of imposter syndrome? Instead, I have learned to rely on the strength of teams and grace as well, and learned that this was a journey that is supposed to prepare me for something much bigger. So instead, have I felt it in the past? Yes. Can I remember what was the scenario? No. What do I remember presently is the fact that if I ever feel that way, I need to reflect. I need to give grace to myself. I need to appreciate the team that has made it possible, and then just further ahead. It's always a collective effort. There are a lot of factors that come into play to ensure that you're able to achieve the things you want to achieve. But you need to be confident enough as well. You can never do great things with timidity. Can't be timid or be unsure. Clock it. You can't be unsure. You can't live with self-doubt. You need to be able to take bets on yourself and bets on the people around you as well.
Yeah. As I was watching one, well, I'd say a content on Instagram, and then the guy was pretty much interviewing people on the streets. He interviews successful people, and then he was talking to one guy, and the guy said, "You actually need to have that belief that you you are currently a third row guy, but you have the capacity to be in the front row. Place that bet on yourself." That's one of the characteristics of successful people. They know, oh, I might be in the third, fourth, fifth row, or even the last row right now, but I have the capacity to be in the first row.
Yes.
If not me, then who? Right. So I really understand that. My next question would be, what values for you are non-negotiable, even if they cost you opportunities?
Punctuality?
Hmm. Okay.
I mean, not just so get here on time, but when it has to be done, let's do it. I share a principle that if I have 24 hours to do something, I like to get to it in the first hour, because there might be another opportunity that comes up by the 12th hour. And if I had not done what I'm supposed to do in 24 hours, I start grappling with two things by the 12th hour.
Okay.
And I would say punctuality, because it's majorly the things that is making a difference presently in my life. There are a lot of values I can't really dip out of the pocket. Being a conduit of value. I'm doing a lot of partnership things this year, and first thing I want to identify is alignment.
Yeah.
Do I have value to offer? You have value to offer me? Is that established? Then we can go ahead. If it's not, no compromise, no sentiment. It was great knowing. Let's move on. So, being able to know, being able to keep it in mind that I need to be able to offer you value. It is very, very important. It has made a lot of difference in my trajectory. Keeping that in mind, that, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I might then look out for the value that is coming to me. But first thing is, am I valuable to you? That's to be established. What other values are important to me? Punctuality comes with a lot of things. For where we are for our climb, for what I've seen, it's sad to admit, but it's not a culture.
Hmm.
I mean, I ran late a couple of meetings today, but what I did, update ahead. I was supposed to make a meeting for 12. I realized, though, I was running late, a meeting was spilling over. I informed ahead. I'm running 15 minutes late. The map showed me 12:15. I gave myself a grace of 5 minutes. I got there 12:17. I was supposed to be here at this time. I give an heads up. So it requires a lot of planning, discipline. I'm honoring the people that you're supposed to meet up. It's basic. What other values? Doing the work. It's a I mean, hard and smart work. Let me put it that way. I like to get to it. I like to be get. I like to go to the field, even if I don't have to. I like to go to the field. I mean, there are never any time that I don't have to go to the field, but you never get too big to do the work, to do the hard work.
So roll your sleeves.
No, I've literally rolled my sleeve to push an InDrive that was stuck in a flood. I was going to Lagos Startup Week to give a speech, and it was raining. And you know when it's raining, it was raining in Bagada, and we're in the middle of a valley. or that was flooded. It was so bad that the car lost its its plate number. But got out, got off my jacket, rolled up my white shirt sleeve, pushed, and still got to Lagos traffic and still gave speech like nothing happened. So yeah, literally, I like to roll up my sleeves in actual fact, and also mentally, I like to roll up my sleeve and get to the work. Yeah, but I'm learning to also be a better manager. Transfer the same skills to people. That's a hard nut to crack.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I hope I'll be able to answer that question about values, because different times, different values are needed. But punctuality will always be top of it for me.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around what you just said. Uh, Helping that driver who was stuck in that flood, right? And the people who you went to speak to at Lagos Startup Week wouldn't even have the slightest, thinking of what had just happened.
I think my view about drivers changed when I shared it on my LinkedIn, a video I shared recently. That drivers are not just drivers. I picked about 6 passengers, particularly in Abuja, and I realized the profile of the passengers. One was going for a baby dedication. I picked another one at the hospital. I don't know if she's just finished a test or a series of training. I picked another person who said, "Oh, she's going to celebrate her dad who just beat cancer." I picked another person who was going to church. And the way I view things, I view things as opportunities. I don't take it as, oh, it's just an experience. It's just there. I, as a driver, and every driver, are integral to the dreams or the purpose that people are pursuing. If the driver was not there on time, probably person will probably be late to go to the baby dedication, to go to the birthday, to celebrate their dad. So I could see from, he's trying to make money, but then again, he's driving people's purpose. So it's really did shift the way I see what people do and all. Really what?
No, no, really, it really emphasizes that tagline of InDrive that you guys are that people drew here, right? If I'm to ask you, what would a good life look like beyond money and beyond title?
Beyond money, we went out to my sim cliche, beg your pardon, but it impacts.
Hmm.
And I'm glad that I have stories to tie to these things. And the Port Harcourt experience again. Just knowing that I might not have a big bank account that can give money to 1,000 persons,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm part of something bigger than me
Yeah.
that is impacting tens, millions of lives.
Hmm.
That's like fulfilling because it has a ripple effect. It gives hope, gives choice, it gives drive. It has just numerous tentacles. It drives the economy even beyond the everyday. It has a B2C play, it has a customer play, it has a business play, it has an economy play, it has a whole Nigeria play. So it's impact and being able to do the hard work, contribute, compete, and fight for the end users at the end of the day. Create that enabling environment. So yeah, impact is what it is. I'm glad that I have stories from our everyday life. I mean, even what we do from our Tech Award, Nigeria, I joined the train of pushing for investment in Nigeria to our vehicle, which is our Tech Award in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I think 2023. And so far, in the past 2 years, out of, it's a global award where female founders apply and then they get undiluted funding for their startups, basically to close the gap of female involvement in entrepreneurship and leadership and all. And so far in the past 2 waves, the impact we've been able to make globally is that Nigeria has led the number of applicants globally. And it just concluded out of 3,400, over 800 are Nigerian founders, highest globally. The last one, same thing, Nigeria is the highest. And the last two, Nigeria came first. Nigeria came first in 2023, 2024, 2024, 2025. Nigeria came first. In 2024, 2025, Nigeria had 20% out of the finalists. So these are impact. Begin IT, introducing primary school, secondary school students to tech early on. Being part of such, being able to help be as simple as local organizing committee, connect to the right partners and all that, impact something bigger than me, but being able to, tidy up my own little corner and ensure that things are moving smoothly so that every other person who is working from Kazakhstan, from South Africa, from Cyprus, ensure that this is working, from California, so ensure that this is working, kind of know that, oh yeah, we have someone to rely on that would ensure that we deliver the impact we're looking out for.
Jose, we are both people who are not from the silver spoon, right?
Yes.
Started from the bottom, now we're here, right? Kind of stuff. What would you say that pain or failure, whatever it is, has taught you that comfort did not?
Pain, thoughts, that comfort. Comfort really didn't teach me a lot or any. Oh, comfort helps me recalibrate and reflect. Just last week, I got a free pass for a day to go to Takwabe. And on the journey, I just closed my eyes and breathed in and out for about 15 minutes. And I was able to reflect. Or pain. As much as I didn't come from silver spoon, I'm the last child. And there are a lot of people who did the work. My dad, my mom, my brother, my sisters did do a very great job ensuring that, I get an enviable life. Even, I got a laptop, SS1. Wow. Yeah. Even though it was from winning a writing competition, but I had an enabling environment that allowed me. Actually, my mom bought me a desktop JS class. Wow. So, so I would not say pain. I think one of the things that drives me is knowing that I have a responsibility. It's a sense of responsibility. In my recent concluded course at University of Cape Town, one thing I kept talking about was the burden of responsibility. I know I run with a purpose that I owe it to generations unborn to create certain enabling environments, which I might not even see. I might just be the one to create the framework, the blueprint, foundation, or whatever. But it's just the responsibility, the mindset. I'm responsible for this. I can't mess it up. It is not even mine. It is a responsibility to ensure that some other people are fine. A lot of people are not fine. I see it around me. I grew up in Agege. I've never had knife points. I don't take it against them. It's just life, right? I've I've had different experiences and all, but I just see it as it is what is life. So, I see the pain. Um, I've been, as much as I didn't come for silver spoon, I've been privileged enough not to experience it. But then again, I see it, and my question is, okay, what do you do about it? And so I take it as a responsibility. So I think it's not. I know it's a motivation to ensure that I create an enabling environment to ensure that people don't experience it. For example, I volunteer at at my church youth assembly. So we started something for secondary school students and all that. I do it every Saturday. So I'm like, yeah, I lock my Saturday. 12 to 2, I'm away at One Body Church volunteering. I volunteer to support Oral Tech Award. It's not my KPI, but then again, I know that, oh yeah, this is impact, right? It doesn't add directly to my numbers, but then again, it's a cause that I believe in. There are a lot of things that my day job, I see it as key, like it is impacting my immediate environment. This, gotta do it. Yeah, it's gone beyond the paycheck. Yeah, joining 2020, 2023 was a paycheck, but post that Port Harcourt experience, it was like a veil turned off. Like, you see these tens of thousands of drivers, they are families. You see the affordable transportation you're making available. I mean, every penny that someone can save has somewhere it's going to: a sibling, a mom, an education fund, and a side business, or being able to even show up the next day to work, you know. So those are the motivations that I think have been able to drive me beyond pain. Seeing the pain around and knowing that, oh yeah, you have to do something about it.
Okay. This has been an interesting conversation, and I'll wrap up by this last question. Well, let me say second to the last question, because I usually have a particular question I always ask my guests. Um, was there a moment when I would say quitting felt more logical than continuing, and why did you continue?
I mean, there are different buckets. Professionally, my education was quitting. I'm trying not to sound like, oh, I'm never a quitter, but it's hard for me to actually deep in my bucket of experience to see where I felt like, you know what, let me throw in the towel. So much that I feel I have even continued foolishly when I'm supposed to have quitted. Certain experiences, I feel like I've been beating a dead horse. But oh yeah, I know better not to be the dead horse anyways, but quitting, honestly, I'm trying to think. Give me like some few seconds. I'm trying to look through important moments. I'm surprised to see that there's none.
Nice.
I'm surprised to see that there's none. The moments that felt like quitting, it was right to quit.
To quit. Okay.
It felt you need to stop, and I think I did stop.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, everything aligned, and I moved on to the next thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this brings me to my last question. Um, the purpose of this podcast is pretty much to let people know that the successful people you see today didn't just drop from the skies, right? They have their own path. They have their successes, they have their failures, they have things that you see that you don't see at the limelight, right? So I want young people to know that, oh, there is light at the end of the tunnel, no matter what I'm going through. If Dimeji could do it, right, I have a shot at life. And so I want you to give an advice to your 20-year-old self. If the 20-year-old Dimeji was sitting right here and you were having a conversation with him, what would you say to your younger self?
At different points in my life, I had mantras.
Hmm.
I think I would say thank you to my younger 20-year-old self,
Hmm.
because there was a particular mantra that I had way back in uni, which is a poem, Robert Frost, The Road Not Taken. And it always stuck with me. Don't overflog the road not taken. You didn't take it. Put your best foot on the road taken. Don't say, oh, I should have gone the other way. I embrace, you know how they say, play the card life dealt you.